Hello again. Lightwalker here to recap a hike I just took the other day on the New England Trail, the Metacomet section at Rattlesnake Mountain. Distance was 4.1 miles, another tenth to the parking lot. Elevation change just under 900 feet, and it was on the 29th of July. Temperature at the start was a cool 57 degrees with 70% humidity and a dew point of just 51% degrees. Here's the parking lot at the hospital for Central Hospital for Care on Route 372 in Plainville. And shortly as you get on the trail, you'll see the markings to the various landmarks on the hike. Here's some nice flowers to the right. I believe they're actually weeds, but they were plentiful, and I just thought I'd grab a picture of them. Coming up the first part off to the ridge, you'll see you're hiking on a lot of shale, so it's good to have good hard sneakers or hiking boots for this, and it's not for the faint of heart. You go up a few hundred feet within the first 5 or 10 minutes. And just to the right of the trail, there's an outlook of an old quarry that was abandoned, looks like at least 30, 40 years ago, because some of the trees are growing up to the ridge. You don't want to take the children there because they could fall off and get killed. Looking down, you can see the newer quarry, and you could see the hospital that we just parked at. And as a viewpoint to the right, you can see Lowe's behind the trees to the lower right, and the Plainville Valley. Here's another overlook. You could see the Plainville Valley and the ridge along that runs from Wolcott up to Bristol and Farmington. And you can see there is actually more steep areas of rock on this ascent. It's generally an easy climb, but there are some steep parts. And here we finally get to Pinnacle Rock. I think it's called a mountain. You can see there's a little bit of graffiti, but not much. And there's a few safety railings to keep you from, I guess, from falling off in the more treacherous parts. Here's another look at the valley from that point. At this point we've gone 2.1 miles, and elevation we're at about 538 feet, according to the All Trails application. And at this point you might want to put your bug net on because it gets kind of buggy. There's a lot of ups and downs till you get to the pinnacle, to the Rattlesnake Mountain. There's also some interesting igneous rock formations of the same rock that formed Ragged Mountain about a 500 million years ago. Yeah, there's me with my bug net on, about to take it off. Finally got to the power lines. From here, there's a little downward scramble, and actually there's a view of the power lines from view of the radio towers from the power lines. It's no more than a half mile away at this point. And there's a lot of blueberries on the trail this time of year. Most of them are picked or eaten, but you can see I've found a few here. And there's a picture looking back up at the power lines, which we come down. This is probably the most overgrown part of the trail. I actually took a picture of the growth and sent it to the Connecticut Forest and Parks Association, asking if someone could come down here and clear that. It actually is kind of wet in some areas as well, down there. It's no more than 20, 30 yards. Then coming up, you come up some steep rock. I didn't get any picture of that, but along the cliff face, you could see this little cave that you need to climb through, little pass. And there's plenty of room, don't worry. And you finally get to the top, and you are congratulated with beautiful views. This is looking south toward Rattlesnake Mountain, and further down Castle Craig there on the right you could see. And another mountain that I think overlooks Crescent Lake to the left in Southington. At this point we've gone 3.2 miles, and we're at an elevation of 644 feet, according to the All Trails application. Here's a view of the radio towers. This slide actually doesn't really belong here. This is was taken further back on the trail from the mountain. At this point we are, actually the slide does belong there. At this point we are going over private land, and this sign just reminds you that there's extra rules here. There is a beautiful viewpoint to the north here, and I zoomed in on the camera, and I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a Hubline Tower on the right. on Avon Mountain, and that's the Farmington Valley, and that you could see all the way up to Massachusetts in this morning because it was so clear out, just a few clouds out. This is one of my favorite parts of the trail, heading back to Route 6. It's generally it's a little steep at the beginning, but then it just gets really pleasant and either dirt or clay. And it finally comes out into the main road on this little side road. Not only says there's no parking there, but there's a policeman standing there making sure no one parks there. At this point it was a little warmer, 68 degrees, but still beautiful with only 55% humidity, 51 degree dew point. At this point I walked down. You could see the parking actually a tenth of a mile down this road, and there's an access trail, so you don't have to actually do any road walking at all, which is wonderful. And at this point, just like the other end of the trail, there is a sign telling you how far the features are. Nice welcome sign, and a map that shows you where you are. It's a good thing to do if you have a phone to take a picture of this map. In case you get lost, you can hopefully find your way back. And here's a picture of the trail heading back south toward Plainville. Well-maintained trail. My hat's off to the trail maintainer for this trail. It's really well done. Not just the trail, but the trees as well. And this is where it gets a little steep as you get close to the ridge along the trail, about almost a mile up. And there's a little passage. It's a good 2 to 3 feet wide, so it's not very tight, but it's just interesting that the trail goes right through those rock formations. And here's some boulders as you're getting close to Warren's Den. You could see the den in the center, and you could see a flag up to the right. I got a close-up of both of those coming up shortly. There's a den. It's a small opening. It's not for a large person to climb through, but if you Google it and look for it on YouTube, you could see some videos of the inside. It's actually pretty spacious in there. And here's a plaque that the town of Farmington put up in June of 1987, commemorating this as a historic site. And there is actually a rock wall up here, which I'm really baffled about because it's the terrain is too steep to do any farming, so I'm guessing it was a property marker of some sort. And here's a short video clip just showing you how nice it is up here. There's a trail about 10 feet down on the right. And it does get a little steep and rooty here, so you need to be in decent shape to climb up this. And it levels off. There's still a few more ups and downs till you get to the cliffs, Rattlesnake Cliffs, the overlook. It's a great hike for to bring young kids on, I believe, because kids love climbing on rocks. And it's not that long. It's only 1.3 miles in and 1.3 miles out, so about 2.5 mile hike. Here's a close-up I took of that flag, and I Googled it later. That's actually the state of Connecticut flag with the state of Connecticut motto. You could Google that. I'm just baffled as to why it's on the side of the trail. Here's the elevation map according to the All Trails app. And here's a little topological view of it, going from the start to the 120-degree view at the Rattlesnake Cliffs. And then you go back to the power lines, which I didn't film again, but then there are some ups and downs to get back to Pinnacle Rock. Again, put your bug netting on. There's that same striated rock, metamorphic rock formation. And here's a view from Pinnacle Rock. You could hear the audio that's to rock climbers getting ready for their ascent up the cliff. Out toward Plainville and Bristol and probably Farmington to the right. At this point we are 2.2 miles into the hike. We've dropped considerably in elevation. There's a topological view. Looks kind of like the letter S at this point. See Batterson Park on the right. I believe there's an access trail to that. Hear that bird? I wonder what kind of bird that is. If you know, leave a comment, please. There's a little sassafras tree right in the middle of the trail. I wish I had a shovel. I'd transplant it off the trail. It's my favorite kind of tree. Here's some rock outcroppings, and there's also some glacial rocks deposited thousands of years ago along this part of the trail. Some more ups and downs until you get back to the trailhead off of Route 372 in Plainville. And again, the same flower/weed formation I saw coming up the trail in the morning. At this point, we are, you can see according to AllTrails, 4.4 miles into the trail. It's AllTrails isn't 100% accurate. It's a little bit off. And here's a temperature at the end. It's still a comfortable 76 degrees with a low 40% humidity and once again a 50% dew point. And here are the metrics again for the trip. If you're going to go round trip like I did, you basically take these numbers and you double them. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If not, you can give it a thumbs down or go on to the next one. Please tell your friends to check it out and by all means subscribe. It's Lightwalker signing out and asking you to enjoy your hikes in Connecticut and beyond.